What is good, everybody? Man, it's your boy Jay in the building. We is back again with another video. Now, before we get this video started, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys share the video. We have here my top 10 HBCU players heading into the 2024 NFL draft, man. Now, listen, it's going to be a lot of names that y'all going to be mad that I left off this list, man. And I'm not going to name who. But I know, listen, there are a lot of players that y'all gonna be upset that I left off this list. But this is why I love like life in general, bro, because we all have different opinions, man. But this is my top 10 HBCU players heading into the 2024 draft, man. Let's get around to it. At number 10, I have Tariq Stewart, offensive lineman coming from North Carolina A&T. 6'6", 300 pounds. Now, he started his college career at ASA Community College, which is in Brooklyn. Did 2 years there. He was the number 2 ranked JUCO prospect coming out of the state of Ohio. I think he was top 10 overall in terms of offensive lineman. He ends up transferring to West Virginia, does a year there, plays a few games. Then he ends up transferring to North Carolina A&T. Two-time all-conference performer. Now 2022, they had a really good year. They had the best running. They had the only running back to go for over 1,000 yards, and then for some reason A&T ends up going completely downhill. But in terms of guys, he still managed to become an all-conference performer, even with A&T not being as good as they were the previous year. But yeah, this guy could move. Definitely big in size, but is quick on his feet. Can definitely block, and I have him at number 10 because he is definitely physical in the trenches. I like what he does on that offensive line, so I like him at number 10. At number 9, I have Patrick Godbolt coming out of South Carolina State, man. Defensive lineman. 6'3", 235, man. He had 35 tackles for loss and 10 sacks in his last 3 seasons with South Carolina State. He's a 3-time All-MEAC performer. If you saw him run the 40 at the HBCU Combine, he runs a 4.6. Explosive coming off the edge. He was part of that defense in 2021 where South Carolina State actually won the Celebration Bowl. They beat Jackson State in it, and their defense absolutely dominated. He played with guys like B.J. Davis, Kobe Durant, Jablowski Green. That defense was absolutely stacked. And if you know their history with South Carolina State, you know that South Carolina State stays with a guy that is heading to the NFL, whether drafted or not. Coming from guys like Shaq Leonard and Javion Hargrave, and even Kobe Durant, who is now entering his 3rd year in the league. I believe he's going to be playing. He's going to be right behind him. I think he's heading to the NFL. Patrick Godbolt has been amazing at South Carolina State, and I have him at number 9. At number 8, I have Zarion Hayes, defensive lineman for Alabama A&M. Last 2 seasons, he's a transfer from Appalachian State. DN 6'1", 240. Last 2 seasons, had 95 tackles for 27 tackles for loss and 7 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. This is a guy who is really fast coming off the edge. And for y'all who watched the Legacy Bowl, he won defensive MVP because he displayed that. Run a 4.6. He runs a sub 4.6 in the 40. So wherever he did at the combine, it translates on the field, and you can clearly see that. Easily Alabama A&M's best defender by far. Alabama A&M defensively wasn't really, appealing, honestly. But whenever Alabama A&M won games and needed stops on defense, it was mainly because he was causing havoc in the backfield. So I really like Zarion Hayes, man, at number 8, and I think he's gonna be well deserving of a spot anywhere. Cause I think, listen, he gets in the backfield just as quick as anybody in this SWAC did. So I really like Zarion Hayes heading to the next level at number 8. At number 7, I have Jablowski Green, defensive lineman coming from South Carolina State. Now let me say this. Now, if I go back to that 2021 season, like I spoke about when I spoke about Patrick Godbolt, there was a superstar on each level of that defense. In the secondary, you had Kobe Durant. At the linebacker spot, you had B.J. Davis. And at the D lineman spot, it was Green. When I tell y'all, Jablowski Green could have easily won Defensive Player of the Year that year. He could have easily won it. I think he led the conference in tackles for loss by like 5 or 6. I think he had 19 and a half tackles for loss. I think the person behind him had like 11 or 12, and I think that was Nixon, who ended up getting the free agent signing to the Jaguars, I believe. So and he was only, mind you, Jablowski was only a sophomore that year. Now, granted, I think he dealt with some injuries his last 2 seasons. I think 2 years ago, I think he only played 4 games, and this past season he played in 5 games. But he still played decently well. Now, I think he played really well in the HBCU Legacy Bowl. This guy right here he's 6'2", 285, so almost 300 pounds. This guy, he can play in the inside as well as the outside. And when I tell you that this guy right here, I think with a full season could most definitely wreck shop. I'm still mesmerized by that sophomore year that he had at South Carolina State, man. This dude right here, mind you, he was preseason MEAC Defensive Player of the Year, even with him only playing 4 games the year before. That's how dominant everybody knew that he could be. And granted, he only played half the year, but he still did, some good things here and there. But yeah, this guy Green is a terror on that defensive lineman, and I know for sure somebody's gonna pick him up. Drafted, we'll hope to see, but I definitely see him getting picked up by somebody, because I believe he's that dominant on the line. So that's why I have him at number 7. At number 6, and I'm not even gonna hold you, I probably have him a tad bit too low, to be honest with you. But at number 6, I have Lubert Denilis. Lubert, the last 2 seasons alone at Benedict was dominant, absolutely dominant. Like his career at Benedict, he had 48 tackles for loss, 26 and a half sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 6 fumble recoveries with over 130 tackles. Now, just his last 2 seasons alone, he had at least 18 tackles for loss with 10 sacks in just his last 2 seasons. He's a 2-time SIAC Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time All-American, and the spearhead as to why Benedict was probably the best defense in Division II in back-to-back years. Now, it didn't translate to the playoffs, but in the regular season, Benedict was absolutely dominant. I think they were 11-0 in back-to-back years, when prior to that, it never happened. Benedict never had an undefeated season up until these last 2 years. And with Lubert, and You can tell, and he can play on the inside or the outside. Think he's what, 6'1" or 6 feet, 255. He looks a little bigger than that, to be honest with you. And you can see how well he moved in the HBCU combine. He moves pretty well with the way he has. And let me tell y'all something, man. I think he kind of reminds me of a Joshua Pryor. You know, like, listen, if you heard, if you saw what the Commanders did on defense with them moving not only Chase, but Josh Sweat as well, they made room for Joshua Pryor to get some reps at the Commanders. So I kind of feel that a team is going to do the same thing with Lubert, man. Because when I tell y'all that this guy right here, Lubert, was definitely one of the best defenders in Division II in the last 2 seasons, period. By far, one of the top 5 best defenders in Division II, man. That's why he's a 2-time All-American, man. And guy was nothing short of amazing at Benedict. And I do believe that he has the potential to be drafted. And I do like that, man. So that's why I have him at number 6. At number 5, I have Sundiata Anderson, defensive lineman from Grambling State, man. Now, I think the first time he caught my attention, bro, was, I think it was his sophomore year against Alabama A&M, and they had no business winning that game. Like they had no business winning that game. And in the first quarter, it was looking ugly for Grambling State. And then from the second quarter on, it was a total slaughter what Grambling State put on Alabama A&M. And that was a really good Alabama A&M team that year with Akil Glass, a quarterback. You got D. Anderson and Abram and Gary Coles. Like that Alabama A&M offense had a squad, right? So Son Anderson, bro, really caught my attention. I think he had that forced fumble in the second or third quarter, bro, that I believe changed that whole game around, honestly. I think he led the team in sacks I think he had 2.5 sacks that game, or 2 sacks that game, with that forced fumble that they scored off of, and it completely changed the game, man. But yeah, Sundiata, think for his career, bro, he finished off with 28.5 tackles for loss with 14 sacks, then 136 tackles. And this guy's speed off the edge is crazy. I want to see what time he runs in the 40. I believe, listen, he can run. I think he can run a legit 4.5 flat, probably 4.6 and around that range, because that's the type of speed he has coming off the edge. Now, he only weighs about 240. So I believe where you weighing between 240, maybe even 235, you gonna have to be able to accommodate for something. Like, if you're gonna weigh that much coming off the edge, you gotta be able to run in the 40. And I believe when you run something in a combine like that, it has to reflect what they see on film. But what we see on film, if you can see his tape, he comes off the edge quickly. And I believe when in a passing league like this in the NFL now, it's extremely important to have a player like him to be able to run fast off the edge. Hands, uses his hands really well. So I have him at number 5. And he just competed in the Shrine Bowl not too long ago. So listen, I can't wait to see where he ends up, because he's definitely gonna end up somewhere, bro. So I have him at number 5. At number 4, I have Javion Howard, running back from Alcorn State, man. Now let me say this: when we all got the notification that he was transferring from Syracuse, because that's where he played at, I watched his highlights. I reacted to his highlights, and I said, "Oh, he about to come and kill it. He's about to come and kill it." And the first year he played at Alcorn State, bro, they literally gave him the ball 20 times a game. I think the first game of the season, he had over 100 yards. I think it was against Stephon Austin, and I think they almost won that game. Or they won the game, I'm not sure. But dog, he had 250 carries in 2022. 250 carries. That's a lot of carries. That is a lot. He rushed for over 12. He almost rushed for 1,300 yards. Had 12 touchdowns. He was SWAC Newcomer of the Year, first team all conference. This past season, cut the carries damn near in half almost. He only had 150 carries, but still managed to get over 700 yards. Still managed to get 7 touchdowns. Now his 2 best games was against I think Arkansas Pine Bluff. I think he had almost 300 yards against Pine Bluff in 2022. Rushed for damn near 200 yards this past season against Pine Bluff. But the man is a monster. The scouts love him. I think he's 5'10", 215. Solid. I think he runs a 4.5, legitimate 4.5. So listen, the scouts are going to absolutely love Howard. He runs well. And listen, if you look at his combine tells you everything you need to know about him as a runner. Like the highlights matches what he's done at the combine. And listen, in his pro day, there's going to be a lot of people at the pro day if Alcorn decides to have one. The dude is legit. So listen, I hope they get him. I hope somebody picks him up. He had over 2,000 yards at Alcorn State, man, with 19 touchdowns. Somebody is going to look. He's a shorter version of Derrick Henry, but he runs solid, bro. That's why I got him so high, bro, at number 4, bro. He's a solid runner, bro. Real good running back. Number 3, I have Davius Richard. And I'm going to say this with pure confidence. Darius might be the best HBCU quarterback heading into the NFL draft since Steve McNair. And I think I can say that with pure confidence. I think I'm confident in saying that. Since Steve McNair, bro. David Richard, bro, since his freshman year, he's elevated. Every single year elevated. I think he might, I don't know where he ranks among school history in terms of passing yards and total offense. The last time I saw, I think he was number 2. And that was heading into his senior year. Almost 9,000 yards passing with 73 passing touchdowns and another 2,000 rushing with 44 rushing touchdowns, bro. A legitimate dual threat quarterback of the highest order, bro. He's a 2-time MEAC Offensive Player of the Year. He won the Celebration Bowl. He beat the best defense in the country to do it against Jackson State. Scored about 30 to 40 points, man. And dog, this dude right here is the epitome of what a dual threat quarterback is at his time at Central. Probably the best quarterback to come from Central, dog. And I pray and hope that the injury that he had in the Legacy Bowl does not change on any scout's mind. He's done way too much at Central for that injury that at the Legacy Bowl to do anything. I hope it doesn't happen. He's done too much. Dog, his junior year, the season that he had his junior year was unbelievable, bro. They beat, I think, 3 or 4 ranked teams that year. I think they finished the season 8-2, if I'm not mistaken. They made the playoffs his senior year, ultimately lost in the first round. But listen, the career that Richard has at Central, bro, the greatest player to ever come from Central, if you want to say it, man. He's a legitimate 6'3", 220, built like a running back, but is dangerous at the quarterback position, man. And dog, dangerous, absolutely dangerous. But he had an amazing year, an amazing career at Central, dog. And like I said, I pray and hope that that this injury does not affect his draft stock, because he deserves it. He deserves to have a spot on somebody's team. I think he's earned it. But we're going to see what happens, man. But listen, I have him high, man. I just hope he get drafted. He could legitimately be the first quarterback in years to be drafted. So I pray and hope it happens, man, because he worked his ass off, man. I have him at number 3 because, dog, one of the best to do it at Central. At number 2, I have Willie Drew. Willie Drew from Virginia State, cornerback, 6 feet 185. Now, he literally just participated in the NFL Combine not too long ago. I think he ran a 4.46. I think he bench pressed 225 13 times. I didn't see him do the cone drill or the short set or whatever. I didn't see any of those. But dog, quick, fast. Think so he started his college career at James Madison. Think he had not only first team all CIAA, first team All-American. He had 6 interceptions this past season, 6 interceptions with 22 passes defended. That's 22 passes deflected in 10 games. You could make an argument that half of those passes deflected were dropped interceptions. So imagine 22 of those pass deflections, half of those are actually caught for interceptions. So you could probably make a case that he probably could have had 11, maybe 12 interceptions this past season. Amazing. Lockdown corner. Now I first actually watched them when they played against Norfolk State, and lockdown, absolute lockdown. And that's when I started catching wind of Virginia State, and they started really making some noise when they really upset Norfolk State. I thought they really could have gone undefeated. Honestly, they were that good this past season. But yeah, Willie Drew is a monster at corner, and when I think of him, the names Joshua Williams come to mind, Isaiah Bolden, Marquise Bell, Kobe Durant. Talking about guys that have been drafted in the last 2 or 3 years, all DBs, all coming from HBCUs, and especially with Joshua Williams, who was actually the first HBCU draft pick in the last 2 years in 2022. Absolutely amazing. And you see, he's a 2-time Super Bowl winner with Kansas City. Long rangey corner. So Willie Drew reminds me of that, even though he's shorter, but he could run. He could definitely run. So I think he participated in the recent Senior Bowl. From what I heard, he was kind of up and down in there, but you can see the speed. You can see that the speed is there. And even though he probably, they'll try and make an argument that he was played against lower talent, they try to say the same thing about Joshua Williams. So listen, I think Willie Drew has a really, really good chance at getting drafted, and that's exactly why I have him at number 2. All right, and my number 1 on this list, man, I have Aneem Denkwa, offensive lineman from Howard, man. dude, he's 6'8", 350, 360 from Ghana. Man, upper body. Listen, when you that tall and you weigh that much, I'm pretty sure the upper body strength is amazingly strong. And he's real good on his feet. Long, rangy offensive tackle. He's a 3-time All-MEAC performer, bro. He played in every game. Last 2 seasons. Of course, he played in the Celebration Bowl with Howard this past season. And the thing with him, man, is that if he catches his defender here, it's over. Now, hopefully, the problem that he'll probably face is the smaller defensive ends who are linebackers / edge rushers who can probably bend a little lower down. So I don't know if he'll have a problem with going up against those type of defenders, but the things that he has that is an advantage is that he's long. So listen, if he catches you, it's pretty much a wrap. He's long in the arms, but he's strong up top. So listen, he moves very well with his feet, and I think he's gonna do very amazing, when he gets to the next level, bro. And listen, he has that body type, bro, to play in the league like now. Like, he's probably one of their taller prospects when it comes to the NFL draft, man. And hopefully he does get drafted. I'm really encouraged that he will get drafted. I think probably 5th, 6th round, hopefully, maybe. Listen, having a good offensive lineman is important in these streets. Listen, offensive linemen, cornerbacks, and D linemen outside of the quarterback position are 3 of the more important pieces that a lot of people are looking for. And on my list, it's all through that. Like, outside of Javion Howard, bro, I have a lot of big men on this list. I think it just happened that way. Like, listen, and there were a lot of good guys that I left out on this list that I didn't name, dog, but I'm sure that are gonna get looks. And I'm pretty sure y'all gonna let me know in the comments the people that y'all will put on this list and people that y'all take off. But listen, that's why we have a comment section. And that's why, listen, y'all can express who y'all believe should have been on this list. But that's my top 10, man. But listen, appreciate y'all for the support. I hope all these guys, plus the guys that I didn't mention, end up heading to the league, man. But that's my top 10, man. And listen, y'all, have yourselves a good one. I appreciate y'all.